This is episode 11, and we're talking about Nebraska, Iowa, and maybe a little bit of a look back to what this season looked like for us.
Yeah, I think we could do that. You know, there's not really much to talk about in Nebraska, Iowa, but
no, there's not. No, there's not.
You got a team that showed that they hit the road but didn't show up.
They're beat up, mentally, physically, exhausted.
Well, I think this game they just got punched in the mouth and didn't know how to respond. You know, because when you open the game the way they did,
kind of what Ohio State did to us.
Kind of what Ohio State did to us, and they just didn't respond. And as a football player, as a man, when someone hits you, your natural reaction is to hit back, not run home to mommy. And that's what this team did. You know, I was actually in Florida watching the game. You know, around my family and Florida State Florida fans, and they was watching the game like, there they go again. So it's just one of those deals to where sometimes you gotta eventually have pride in what you do and pride in how you play the game.
Now, you grew up in Strong, mostly Florida State? Or is it a mix?
It's a mix. You know, you got some Hurricane fans there, you got some Gator fans, you got some Florida fans, you got some Bulls fans.
Total mix.
Yeah, so it's a mixture.
Well, unfortunately, it wasn't the holiday I hoped for, at least game wise. They got punched in the mouth, like you said. So,
you know, it's just hard to really come out and say what went wrong, because there are a lot of things went wrong. You know, the offensive line didn't play very well.
No,
defense didn't play well at all.
Well, ever since Ohio State, the defensive. I made a comment before that Wisconsin game, like, hey, we have not talked about them missing tackles all year. And then since Ohio State, we've gone back to what we see the beginning of last year, it seems like.
Well, I think when they started facing teams with backs or receivers that are mobile or that can run hard, that's when you saw it. You know, I didn't see too many missed tackles versus Illinois. I didn't see too many tackles versus
that's a good point.
Versus Indiana.
Yeah.
You know, it's always versus teams that had powerful running backs or mobile guys and shifty guys. And maybe it's the way they practice. I don't know. I don't go down to practice because I don't want to, and two, I don't have time to. But eventually, you got to get back to what I saw Saturday. You got to get back to the bread and butter. Learn how to tackle in space and learn how to block, offensive line, run and block. And until Nebraska gets back to that. The basic fundamentals of football, you know, you're going to see games like that quite a bit.
Early in the game, right out the back, it seems like they ran Tommie a number of times, a handful of times. Are you surprised to see him out running already since, you know, right after the injury of the hamstring?
No, because I feel if he's going to play, you got to do everything. You know, you got to give your team the best chance, the best opportunity to win, and you can't put him out there if he can't do everything that you ask him to do, because that's part of the offense.
Fair enough. Although I seen in I thought it was the third quarter, it might have been late second quarter or it was early third quarter. They had after a series, they showed Tommie walking off the field, and he looked like he was struggling to walk off the field.
Well, I think he probably shouldn't have played. You know, because from what I hear, that hamstring injury is a lot more serious than they led on to. But he's a competitor, and when you want to be out there competing, you're gonna compete. And of course, he probably re-injured it in a game or is real sore after the game. And so what's going to happen is that good thing they don't have to play this Saturday in the Big Ten Championship.
No, they need time.
So it gives them almost a whole month for him just to heal.
Well, and I'll come back to the Big Ten Championship because I'm really curious about your thoughts on that. But it looked like even you got between the Tommie out there playing and the hamstring, and then they brought Riker 5 in the last 5 minutes, and he looked very timid. And I see when they wrapped him up at one play and they went to tackle him, before he even fell, he immediately put his hand up in the air, you know, to protect that. So,
well, once again, it goes back to you had two guys that weren't healthy. You had one who had surgery the Sunday before the game, and so it's just one of those deals to where you didn't have both healthy quarterbacks. And when you don't have a healthy quarterbacks, the number one and two guy, you're not going to play well, and that's what you saw Saturday. Now, I'm not going to put it all on the quarterbacks, because there was a whole lot of stuff in that game. The offensive line didn't block very well at all. When you only rush for 90 yards versus Iowa. And I know, and we said a couple of weeks that their defensive front started playing a lot better. Yeah. But Nebraska is a lot better team, rushing team than what they showed.
90 yards, yeah.
A lot better.
And most of that, I think, was it Bryant?
Yeah, Bryant and Newby. Bryant had like 41 yards, I think, and Newby had 39.
Yeah, I was surprised not in a bad way, but I was surprised to see Brian out there as much as he was.
Well, they're getting him ready for next year because they realize that this might be our running back of the future. So now's the time to start giving him more carries. And he was probably the most productive based off the stats.
And again, no Ezigbo, no Wilbon, missing from play. I think Ezigbo he was on the field at least once I saw, but he didn't get the carry.
Yeah, well, he's not. I don't think he's healthy. I think the writing's on the wall. I think he's a good power running back, short down back if they just let him run forward. But when it's all said and done, I think you're seeing the direction that they want to go by playing Trey Bryant as much as they did late in the season.
Yeah, and he doesn't look too bad. I mean, for the little bit that we saw and the lack of blocking, I guess.
And that's the key. Running backs are running backs and quarterback is only as good as their offensive line. And if your offensive line is not performing well, then you're not going to perform well at either one of those positions. And so that's what happened Saturday. And it was frustrating because they were getting beat man on man. It wasn't like I was doing anything different than what they'd done weeks before. They just got outplayed.
Yeah.
I was more motivated for this game than Nebraska.
Oh, they were much more fired up, it looked like.
And that can't happen.
Yeah, I mean, Nebraska they wouldn't have made it to the Big Ten tournament anyway, but at that time they didn't know, so they had a lot to play for.
They did have a lot to play for, but even not going to the Big Ten game and you still win 10 games, that says a lot about your season. About hey, you finished it off the right way.
There's a big different feeling between 9-3 and 10-2.
Yes,
in my mind,
especially when you got beat.
Yeah,
I think fans could take the loss Saturday. It scores probably 40-35 or 40-28.
Yeah,
where it's a competitive game, but this game was competitive from the start. And that's the sad part about it, that Nebraska just didn't show up.
And who was it? Stanley Morgan, yeah, the one touchdown play we made. What did you make of I was surprised. No, we haven't seen arguing or disruption among the team, I don't think all year. And all of a sudden, the very beginning of the game, we see Stanley Morgan getting into it with Tommie.
I think the frustration started kicking in.
You think it's just building up,
I think it's building up to where Stanley felt he was opening and he could throw better balls. And I honestly believe Tommie just wasn't healthy, and that's not making an excuse because he didn't play. He played piss poor, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because if you're gonna be out there, at least give you your all, at least make an effort. But just this frustration started sinking in because it's one of those deals to where I don't know what has gone on with Nebraska program over the last 10 years. But it seems like anytime it comes to a big game, a primetime game, and when I say primetime, 2:30 slot, day after Thanksgiving is national coverage, they do not perform well.
No.
Something's got to change. The mentality's got to change. And as players, when you've been here a couple years and you see that happen, frustration kicks in, and you get guys with the mentality and the attitude like, "Oh well, it's just one play. It's just no. This is serious business." Coaches lose their jobs based off the way the way you play. So if you're gonna be there, be out there, play hard.
When I take away thinking that's what Stanley Morgan. I think he's talented as hell, and going forward, I think he's going to be a huge asset to this team. And that was what it appeared that he was extremely frustrated.
I said it earlier. I said this early in the year about Stanley on this show.
Yeah.
That out of all the receivers that we have, I thought he can be a top first or second round draft pick by the end of his career if he continues to grow the way he's growing, because he makes plays. He does things. He might not be the fastest, but he makes plays.
Yeah. He's probably the most underrated guy. I mean, we talk a lot about Brandon Riley and Westerkamp. Alonzo Moore's kind of fallen off a little bit. We haven't talked much about him.
That
in a
injury,
while.
that shoulder.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll play football again after this year, because it keeps every time he hits the ground, he started last year,
and it just
keeps going on. I think there's something really wrong with that shoulder.
That's too bad. It sounded like Carter got out there. He had one catch, and it seems like he's still struggling a little bit.
That is the one thing that I just don't get. As talented as that guy is, why didn't he touch the ball more this year? And I understand he had the arm injury that he missed 2 or 3 games.
Yeah.
But even when he was healthy, they still didn't get him involved. I think he could have helped that whole offense. I think Nebraska, if they'd got featured him more,
yeah, they
probably would have won two more games, because he opens up so much. And We have a guy like that who's played tight end who you can put in the slot, or you can put him lined up and he can block and run and all. Feature him. Use him part of the run game.
When they call a play, now maybe he's not the right guy. I'm assuming Tommie's got a couple of options. If it's a passing play, he's got 2 or 3 different options to go to depending on the play.
Well, I'm not gonna say it's options or anything like that. It's a read progression. So if it's cover 1, if it's man to man, you look here. If it's zone cover 3, you look here. For cover 2, you look here. So it's based off the coverage. The problem is that sometimes these guys get locked into, okay, I'm anticipating this play's gonna go here because it's what happened in practice. Well, they don't read the coverage, and what happened? He throws a bad pass, the ball gets deflected, or he throws in double coverage. Why? Because he already predetermined where he was going with the ball.
Well, that's where I was going with this. He seemed like at least for this game, he already decided where he was throwing that ball a lot of times.
Right, and he did. And so because what they did in practice worked, but I would change the coverages up on them. They didn't.
Yeah.
When I say change the coverage, they didn't bring in new coverage. They just ran, instead of running more man versus this set, they ran more cover 3. Or instead of running more zone against this set, they ran more man. Because coaches do go off tendencies. That's how you when you're preparing for teams offensively and defensively, you base your coverages off what they've shown, or they plays off what they've shown in versus certain formation. And I think Iowa changed that up a little bit, and it confused them.
Well, he made. I struggled because he made. There was one play. Westerkamp was open in the end zone, and he went to, I believe it was Stanley Morgan again, which was double covered, and then third down, over and over and over, he insisted on going down deep to Brandon Riley.
I think that's just part of their game plan. I truly do, because even Riker Fife did it.
Yeah.
Even Riker Fife did it. I think that's just part. I just think that's part of it. When you that right there, you got 1-on-1, go deep.
Yeah. Well, what's frustrating to me is third down, 3rd and 3. It didn't matter if it was 3rd and 3 or it's 3rd and 9.
They went deep.
They went deep,
and this is just, I would think that's just part of their package. I just a part of the system. Hey, if you see man to man, I don't care if it's 3rd and 3 or 3rd and 9, we go throw the ball down the field, which once again is predetermining where you're going with the ball instead of actually reading the coverages.
Well, after this game, immediately, so we went. I even struggle to talk about this game. Like, it's just like I don't even know what that. Like, it's just such. But after this game, Mike Riley made a move on the coaching staff almost immediately.
Right.
I don't think anybody was shocked by that. I was just surprised by the timing of it, how fast it happened. Do you think that's a good thing?
I think it's a good thing. You're the CEO.
Yeah.
You lost 3 of the last 5 games. You always complain about special team play, how much of a cartoon it was. I think he sets the tone right now that nobody's job's safe. Even though we're 9-3, we're here to win championships. And if you don't coach the guys the way you're supposed to coach them, then I got to make a change because they brought me here to win championships. They didn't bring me here just to go 9-3. They brought me here to go win conference championships. They brought me here to win national championships. Now, did this team improve from last year to this year? Hell yeah, they improved.
Yeah.
But did some areas suffer? Could it have been better if other areas would have played better? That's what, as a CEO, as a head coach, and as an athletic director, those are the things you have to look at. And if somebody underperforms, you got to, 1, find them help, or 2, get rid of them and bring somebody else in you think can do better.
Did Reed? So when on the special teams, so that's kickoff returns, punt returns, punting itself.
That's why special teams.
So, all right, so like this, I don't, because even punting was terrible this week. I don't know what happened on the punting game, but I think we had one punt for 12 yards and another one that was I don't remember how short it was, but it was another really short yard. What I also noticed is I don't remember him doing that. He was doing that soccer punt, kind of the side leg kick.
There was no consistency there.
All right, that's where I'm.
And Lightborn, he's young,
extremely. And he wasn't supposed to play this year.
He wasn't supposed to play this year.
Yeah,
but he got thrown into it. But I don't care how young you are. I've seen other freshmen out there perform. If you have a job to do, you do it. He punted the ball well in high school, so what made it any different in college?
Well, that's where I was just going to the inconsistency that you just said. It just seemed like every play, it was very different. Every time he was punting out there, at least this week compared to last week.
Was it maybe because he was more intimidated with the pass rush? Maybe he just didn't feel comfortable with the wind, trying to keep it low into the wind. I don't know how much wind was there, but it's just something. He was just so inconsistent, and he's gonna get better because this year he's gonna go back and reevaluate every punt that he did and realize see where his flaws were and work on those in all season. But when you're the special teams coach, your job is to find those flaws and get them fixed. Because he shouldn't be doing the same things that he did at the start of the season at the end of the season. And that's what I saw. That's what I saw from the punt return team. That's what I saw from the punt team. You know, the kickoff return team they had the moment. The two teams I thought did well was the PAT and the field goals and the kickoff team, kickoff coverage.
Yeah, Drew Brown's done pretty well this year. But coverage blocking for DP on punt returns has been atrocious.
Atrocious. I mean, you got one of the top supposedly return guys who can make plays happen, and you can't find a blocking scheme to make sure he gets an opportunity to return 2, 3, 4 balls a game. And I know sometimes they kick him too high, you can't, but still, it's like every time he caught the ball, somebody was there.
They were in his face,
and they weren't always high punts.
Yeah, they were in his face. And the one time I remember. I think it was second quarter. I thought he had a couple of yards, but they literally, he had 5 Iowa defenders sitting in front of him. He couldn't move more than 3 or 4 yards.
Because nobody blocked.
And there was no one there to block. No one there to block from.
So I think that's when you see stuff like that, the writing's on the wall. And people say, well, I can't believe he did it right now. You know, there is no good time to fire a coach. So you got to do it when you can. And right now, might be the best time because there's gonna be a lot of coaches looking for jobs with the Texas staff being fired, with the LSU guys moving from one school to the other school. You got Purdue getting to hire a coach, Florida National or Florida Atlantic with Bush Davis going to start hiring guys. So right now is the time to do it because there's gonna be a lot of coaches looking.
And I think it saves, it helps from a PR move. Not that anybody should be down on Riley yet, but it definitely helps show that he's here to win championships, like you say. And I think if you would have delayed it too long, I think there would have been a lot of speculation. Then you would have had the Husker fans questioning a lot of different things. So I think it was a great move by Riley.
Well, I don't think people should be questioning Riley because if you look at what the situation that he came into, one, they lack depth and talent, and I'm not going to say talent over the board, but when I say talent. They didn't have very many good backups, second string or third stringers that can step in when the starter got hurt. Okay, and so first year it was a learning experience trying to learn the players. He learned his players, but what happened? Sam Foltz goes down and is killed early in the season, right before the season, which hurt the special teams. Then you win 8 games, and then you go to Wisconsin. Then you lose that game the way you did after coming back, and then you go to Ohio State, and look what happened there. So I think a combination of things that in the season is the reason why the season ended the way it did. And our predictions that we made early in the year were right. I said Nebraska could go 10-2, 9-3, maybe 8-4.
Yeah, it's better than what I thought.
Yes, and so why are people so down? Because it is an improvement from last year. Now here's where I want people to be leery about. What kind of season are they going to have next year? Is the tell on if this program is headed in the right direction. Because it's the third year of the staff. He's going to have the quarterback that he wants to have.
Yeah.
He's recruited 2 classes, two full classes, and not having to come in piecemeal and stuff from the first year. So these coaches have set their blueprint on this program. Now's the time to see. Next is going to be the time to see if he can do what he needs to do here. Not this year, because he improved.
It's actually a pretty miraculous year. If you look back and think about the talent that we thought he had and the injuries and the fact they're going 9-3. They could go 10-3 if you count the bowl. I mean, it's pretty impressive.
It
overall.
is.
Now, the two of the losses were painful.
They weren't painful for me because I've seen them before with other coaches.
Yeah. It was painful because there was a lot of hopes, right? We get up to 8th place in the rankings, so there's a lot. All of a sudden, unfairly, we all shifted and thought, oh my God, like there's a chance. And when he lost Ohio State, like many of us fans were devastated, even though it's unfair to put that on Riley.
You guys were devastated.
Yeah.
You know I wasn't devastated.
No.
I kind of knew it was going to happen.
No.
Because I went to Ohio State the first time they played there. And now we score more points, but the floodgates open in that game. Because for some reason Nebraska got intimidated, and the same thing happened this year. They got intimidated versus Ohio State. So I wasn't down on that loss. That's one of the losses I said I was going to lose from the start of the year.
You're more even toned when it comes to these games. Like you, I don't know, being a player probably and understanding the game more. You can. I get excited and then I have highs and I have extreme lows where you're more even toned. Like it doesn't really surprise you as much.
Because I look at matchups. People look at records and all this kind of stuff.
Well, I think the difference is that you're a lot more educated in the game than I am. So,
but I don't think people have to be educated. Because simply look at the fact of how Iowa played Michigan. Okay? And look how Wisconsin played Ohio State. And look how so I look at matchups based off people that we played. Or common people, and when you do that, then you start seeing what's going on. Vegas knew what was going on because they had Iowa favored.
Yeah.
Now they weren't expecting for it to be this way, but they knew that Iowa had a chance to win this game. So that was the reason why it didn't surprise me. It surprised me that they didn't come out and compete.
Yeah,
that's what surprised me more than anything. Not the final score.
Even the defense, I expected much more from the defense.
Oh, they gave too many big plays.
Yeah, it was. I understand the offense with the injuries. We're going to struggle, but I expected a lot more from the defense.
And that's what and people don't realize Nebraska was hanging their hats on the defense that can play tough and keep the game close, and they didn't. So if you want to fault anyone in this game, you fault the defense. Because didn't Iowa have the ball for 12 minutes in the third quarter?
Very well might. They own the third quarter.
I think like 12 minutes to 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, what does that tell you right there? Defense got to get off the field. And when offense, they got to stay on the field, but defense got to get off the field.
We were 5 and 18 in third down.
Third downs, no turnovers. We actually had more first downs than they did.
Yeah, defense. I don't know. I mean, outside of the Ohio State game, we haven't given up that many big explosive plays all year. That was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. The first two touchdowns were long plays. What was a 75-yard run, a 77-yard pass play? Iowa throwing the ball 77 yards for a touchdown. They haven't thrown the ball 10 yards all year. So that's what I mean by they didn't come out and compete. Iowa won the game more than Nebraska did.
I was only 10. He was 10
to 15.
10 to 15. They didn't even pass. Yeah. In my mind, for whatever reason, I thought he passed more than that, but no.
But they did have 2 rushes over 100 yards.
Yeah.
Second time this year that happened.
Yeah.
And both times they lost the game. Wisconsin had 2 backs. Iowa had 2 backs.
So rumors are now, at least the rumors as of I read this morning, changed this afternoon. Nebraska and Tampa playing LSU. That's what
it depends on it depends on the pecking order. It also depends on the Big Ten championship game.
So this is the most interesting thing. So you actually vote, right? So coaches poll.
Yep.
Is it part of
no, it's FFWA writers.
So this is so in that I'd be interested in as a voter or as a how is this going to shake up? So the way it looks like right now, so it's going to be Wisconsin and Penn State in the Big Ten title game. Ohio State not in the Big Ten title game, not going to win the Big Ten championship, and yet it looks like they're clearly going to be in the Final Four.
No, it doesn't.
You think?
No.
You think they'll reset? And
I don't think they reset. I think it depends on the conference championship games.
Because this is where it gets real.
Because legitimately, in my opinion, how can you put Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game if Penn State wins it? So that's the only way I see Ohio State not being in Penn State win the Big Ten championship game.
If you go off the polls right now, if Wisconsin loses and Penn State wins, it would almost look, unless Penn State had jumped they'd have to jump 5 spots. It would almost set up to push Michigan back into the Final Four. Now I know they reset the playoff every week and they're supposed to vote, but the way the polls are lined up now, if they won, well, let's say if Washington lost.
If Washington lost.
If Washington loses to Colorado, which could happen.
Could happen.
All of a sudden you have an opening there, and Michigan would be next in line in theory.
No. Once again, goes back to this. If Penn State wins the Big Ten championship, okay, how can you legitimately say Ohio State should be in there and Penn State not? Think about it.
I'm with you. But
one of the criteria is, when I understand, that we want conference champions in this playoff. Not and if there's a wild card spot, then there's a wild card spot. Now, if Washington loses to Colorado or Clemson loses to Virginia Tech, that's a whole different ball game. But if Clemson wins, if Alabama wins, and if Penn State wins, those are all three conference champions. Now you got Washington. To me, that's the wild card. Now, if Washington wins, then Ohio State shouldn't be in there, in my opinion, because Ohio State is not a conference champion.
Agreed.
Now,
very curious how.
Now Penn State and Penn State and Washington lose. Now you open up the door. Is it Wisconsin, Ohio State? Is it Wisconsin? I mean, now that's where you open the door for.
Yeah, Wisconsin or Michigan.
Yeah. But I'm a firm believer that the since they're saying the Big Ten Conference is the best conference this year, that their champion has to be in it. Because they don't have 2 losses.
Yeah. Well, if Wisconsin wins, well, yeah, you're right. Then they're the Big Ten champion. I'm just looking at this. Even like poor Oklahoma, they're just on the outside, and
their fault is that they don't have a conference championship. Yes, and plus the way they lost to Ohio State early in the year, and the way they lost to Houston, right there, hurts them. Even though they battled back up and got there. Alabama's gonna have to lose. Which if Alabama loses, they're still gonna get in because Alabama right now
12-0.
They're 12-0.
Yeah.
So if Clemson lose, Penn State lose, and Washington lose, that might give Oklahoma a chance to get in there. But you're gonna need 3 of 3 people ranked ahead of them to lose their conference championship.
It's just interesting because I don't see Clemson losing to Virginia Tech. I don't see Alabama losing.
No.
Washington. Colorado's been out of the nowhere.
That's a toss-up to me. That's a toss-up game.
If Washington loses, I actually hope Washington loses. Not because of Colorado-Washington. I just want to see what in the world is going to happen with the Final Four. Because all of a sudden it opens up the door, and you got to look at Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin. Hell, Colorado's number 9. If they win the Pac-12, do they jump all the way up?
No, because that's too far for them to jump, I think.
Penn State's 8.
Yeah, but Penn State have beat the number 2 team in the country.
Yeah, I'm just looking.
They beat Ohio State when they're number 2.
Colorado's lost to USC.
USC. So when you look at it, who has the better quality wins? Penn State or Colorado?
It's interesting. We've never had the situation we're in this year. We haven't seen before since we've got the playoff in place.
That's the problem with the playoffs. To where what happens when you have all these teams so closely matched? What do you do? And so and one reason why they started this was said that, hey, you don't have a chance unless you win your conference championship. Is that not one of the criteria they said when they first started?
That was the criteria.
It was the criteria.
Yeah.
And so if they're sticking to their criteria, and Penn State or Wisconsin wins the Big Ten championship, which is considered the best conference in America in college football right now, then they should be in there. They should. Now, Washington is the wild card, in my opinion. If they win, they're in.
Yeah. If they win, I think Penn State wins. I think
Ohio State's out.
Ohio State's out.
Because Clemson's going to win and Alabama's going to win. If Wisconsin wins, now you might have that political stuff. Wisconsin, Ohio State. Ohio State beat Wisconsin in the regular season, but it was in overtime and all that kind of stuff. That's where you start seeing it that way.
It's interesting.
It is. It's getting interesting.
Getting very interesting, and then you'll have everybody coming out and it'll be the debate again.
Oh, we need 8 teams to play. We need 18 playoffs. And guess what? You're gonna go from 8 teams. Oh, we need 16 teams because it'll never be perfect.
And then you'll have the other side where people do not want the bowls messed with. Right? There's something sacred about the bowls and fun. And
I don't want the bowls messed with.
Yeah, I enjoy the bowls. You get matchups that you wouldn't normally expect to see.
And you give kids the opportunity to play one more game, go somewhere for 4 or 5 days a week to hang out, have fun. And the bowl system, even if you don't have a chance to win a championship,
Yeah.
you still can say, hey, we're going to bowl game.
Yeah.
But if you move to a 16, if you used to move to an 8, you're going to screw up a lot of things.
Well, it's something special. It's the one thing college football has that no one else has.
Right, because we had a hard time filling all the bowl games last year.
Well, there is a ton of bowl games.
And we had a hard time. We had to put 5 teams who had losing records in there because we had a hard time. So if you move it to an 8 playoff game, so that means you're taking 8 teams out of it already.
Yeah.
Now, where are you going to find those eight teams to fill up the other bowls? I don't think the Big Ten doesn't even have enough teams to fill up their allotment.
No?
No, I think they get 12. I think they get 12 bowls. I think it is.
Oh, wow.
If I'm not mistaken, to 12 or 11 bowls, and we got 10 teams bowl eligible.
Yeah.
So,
and one of those teams are going to go to the Final Four.
Yes, one of them's going to go to the Final Four.
Yeah, at least one.
And maybe 2. So if 2 goes to the Final Four, now you're taking it away. Got to fill in those bowl allotments that normally go to the Big Ten.
I'd love to see 2 teams go.
I would too.
Just because of
financials.
Yeah.
And just to prove to everyone, hey, we told you the Big Ten, and Big Ten was the best team. Now, if they do, I think they'll put them on the same side of the bracket. That way you don't have 2 Big Ten teams playing for the championship.
That's probably fair. Oh, that would be interesting.
That'd be interesting.
That'd be really interesting if it didn't go the other way. You're probably right, though, because they wouldn't. I mean, could you imagine a rematch, Oklahoma, Michigan, or Wisconsin, Ohio State, or Oklahoma, Ohio State?
For the championship.
Yeah, I don't think they would like that.
No.
I don't think media would like that. Yeah.
So even if I think if you do get 2 Big Ten teams in,
they'll make them play right away.
Clemson will be the 4th seed if they win it.
That's interesting.
They'll be the 4th seed, which I think Clemson might have the best opportunity to beat Alabama.
Probably agree with that. I don't see Ohio State. I don't see. I don't know if any Big Ten team's going to beat Oklahoma Alabama.
Well, I think no, that's not true. I think there's some defenses in this like Wisconsin defense.
Is actually
is ranked in the top 5. I think Ohio State, if they get there, I think Michigan can even do it. But I think there's going to have a problem with is on scoring points. But I think Clemson, they have a blueprint because they should have beat Alabama last year for the championship.
Yeah, Arkansas scored 30 points on Alabama. No one even Ole Miss scored 43. I'm sorry. So there's a couple that put up some points, but no one else did.
Yeah,
no one else did.
So for me, I think Clemson might have the best opportunity to beat Alabama because they can score points with them. What I've seen from Ohio State last week was scoring 17 points versus Michigan State, and then
Barrett's not played very well.
He's not played very well.
No, not been impressive at all.
And Wisconsin, I just don't trust their quarterbacks, and when you face teams like that. So I mean, it's going to get interesting. Like I say, Washington is a wild card.
Yeah, if Washington locks it up, if they win it, then all of a sudden,
the winner of the Big Ten championship is
you're not going to have all the controversy.
The winner of the Big Ten championship is going to be in.
They should be. And it's just interesting to see somebody jump from 8th all the way up there.
Hey, they won the best conference.
But they said, right, every week they start over.
Who's playing the best and who won the best conference?
Ohio State's not even going to play another game. Michigan's not even going to play another game.
And you can blame Ohio State for losing to Penn State. If they would have lost to Penn State.
Yeah. I love it. I'm torn. I'd love to see 2 Big Ten teams in there, but I would also love to see Ohio State just get knocked out.
Yeah.
I would love to see that too.
I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, just there's so much.
But guess who we're not talking about in this picture? Nebraska.
Yeah.
You know, they control their own destiny and crap down their legs.
They had it. They had it in their grasp.
9 weeks into the season. And 9 weeks into the season, they had it.
Yeah. It completely fell off. The wheels fell off, and they just couldn't get it back together.
They couldn't get it back together, which is okay. That happens. They'll get there, hopefully.
Well, you said it. I mean, next year really is going to be the telling signs. Now you got Riley's going to be able to implement more of his system. He's going to have his quarterback. I mean, it really going to get interesting.
Are you going to have a better offensive line next year? See, people forgot about that.
Yeah. Well,
are you going to have more young receivers? You have to.
Yeah, you'll have a lot more. We're losing a lot of receivers. Westerkamp and Moore, and I think Riley and Carter, all gone.
You're losing Banderas and Ivy on defense side.
Yeah, you're losing those guys.
I mean, you're losing Gary in the back end. I mean, so Kalu might leave and go to the Chris Jones might leave and go to the pros. I mean, so people don't always ask what you want because you're not going to get it usually. And me personally, I don't think they're gonna win 9 games next year.
No. Well, they won't if they can't fix the offensive line. Because the one thing that made Tommie special is when the offensive line broke down, he could move.
Mm-hmm. I don't think they're gonna win 9 games next year. That's my prediction.
We'll save that. We'll see what happens.
I'm making that bold prediction right now.
Ooh, that'd be bad.
And then it's gonna show people how valuable Tommie was.
Yeah.
And I said it before. You know, people didn't like Jamal Lord, didn't like Jamal Lord. But when they go back and look at his career, some of the quarterbacks that come through there, man, Jamal Lord was good.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't win, he was better than a lot of quarterbacks we've had.
I think people don't realize the system at that point. The team, what we had. I mean, when you played, you had every position was staffed with talent, and they were so good. When Eric Crouch finally made his way in there, that kind of broken down, and you didn't have the same depth. And you had to feature Eric, and then when Jamal took over, it was even worse. And I felt like he just was scrambling for his life half the time.
Yeah,
and he did. I mean, he scrambled and he did what he had.
He still put up good numbers.
He is probably one of the most underrated, underappreciated quarterbacks in Nebraska history.
And you hear people always complain, "Oh, Tommie makes the bad decisions." Yes, he does. I made bad decisions. Eric made the bad decision. Scott Frost made bad decision. But this year, did he win 9 games or 8 games?
Yeah, the difference.
With what he had.
Yeah. I mean, we wouldn't have won 9 games if Tommie wasn't in there.
We wouldn't have won 5.
Yeah.
We might have beat Illinois. We might have beat Maryland. We wouldn't have beat Indiana. We wouldn't have beat Oregon.
It would have been a whole different year.
It would have been a whole different year. So people give Tommie his credit. I know he didn't play his best last game, but give him some credit. Without him, Nebraska wouldn't have won 9 games.
I think he'll be more appreciated
when he's gone.
I think when he's here, right, it's never good enough. It's never good enough.
I think it'd be more appreciated once they start seeing next year's offense not moving the ball early.
You won't see a mobile quarterback, and people will miss that.
Mm-hmm.
People will miss that a lot around here.
Because throwing, I'm telling you, defenses are loving those type of quarterbacks right now who just sit back there in the pocket and just try to throw the ball downfield. Look at the guy from UCLA, Rosen.
Yeah.
He was knocked out for the rest of the season because he wasn't mobile.
The mobile quarterbacks right now are just dominating.
Look at the NFL. How many without the exception of Brady?
You're starting to see it now.
We're just starting to see it now. Yeah. They get those guys that can break containment, get out of the pocket because they're getting defensive ends that can beat guys 1-on-1. So people don't think because you got Tanner Lee and Pat O'Brien and all that kind of stuff, they're gonna be better. Because last time I checked, Tanner Lee didn't do very well at Tulane. He didn't win a lot of games at Tulane either. I'm not saying he's not talented.
No.
There's hope there. I mean, he probably can throw the ball down the field.
Well, the interesting thing is, he will probably outthrow. His percentage will be higher than Tommie's. But
higher percentage, does that mean a more high percentage means winning more games?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he will probably complete more passes. Doesn't mean it's going to translate into good decisions, into game wins. You definitely probably won't see a lot of mobility out of those guys much.
I just think in today's society, fans are looking at too much of the analytical stat numbers type deal game. Then did we win the game? Did we win the game by 25 or did we win it by 2? At the end of the year, if we're 11-1, they're not gonna say your point of victory. They're gonna look at you're 10-1. You're gonna be in the playoff. They don't care about how many points you win by. If you win, you're gonna be in. And I think it's the fans who worry about, well, he only completed 50% of his pass, or he threw 12 interceptions. But how many touchdowns did he have? Oh, he had 40 touchdowns. Okay, he threw 3 interceptions a game, but did they win the game? Oh, well, if we would have threw the 3 interceptions, we would have won by 21 points. Doesn't matter. Did he win the game? So I don't get too much caught up in numbers.
I probably look at it too much, and I'll tell you what, it's tiring. It's exhausting.
Because every game is different. Every week is different. Every team is different.
It's too exhausting to try to make sense out of the analytics or the numbers, and in the end, I don't even know if it really matters.
Look at the perfect example. Look at the quarterback from Louisville.
Yeah.
You know, everyone look at his stats. Oh, he scored so many touchdowns, but then when he plays Houston, what happened? Oh, his Heisman stock has dropped because he had one bad game or two bad games. Why? Because they base everything on numbers. Look at, did the team win the game?
What's interesting, though, is you say that, and it's true, but I don't think they based your career off of numbers.
They didn't.
At all. And you're constantly in the top, quarterbacks of history. You always hear Tommie Frazier's name in the very top of that list. And I don't even know what your stats are necessarily, but I'm sure
it's based off wins and losses.
Yeah.
Being competitive, winning 2 championships. That's what it's based off of.
Yeah.
That's what it should be based off on.
I don't think, if you go back and look at stats, I don't know where you would fare up because, especially now, we pass a lot more.
I'm not in top 20 when it comes to passing right now.
Yeah, see?
Which is okay.
Yeah.
Because who cares about being top 20 if you don't win?
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah.
Of course, Taylor Martinez had 10,000 yards total offense.
Yeah.
How many conference championships did he have?
Yeah. Zip.
Tommy Armstrong has a total yards record in the rest. How many conference championships did he win?
Zip.
Zach Taylor, how many championships did he have? Conference. Sam Keller.
At least played for one, right?
He played, but still, that's what I'm getting at. People remember you more for winning championships, not your numbers.
Yeah.
How many people talking about Taylor Martinez right now?
No one in this state.
And he did some special things on the football field. He made his bonehead plays. But how many people talking about him? But how many people talk about Scott Frost? How many people talking about Eric?
What's funny is because you're right, because everybody loved Martinez his first year, but then after that, when things started going south, then they couldn't wait for Armstrong to take over. Mm-hmm. And then now
Armstrong took over. They can't wait for Armstrong to lead.
Yeah. It's a win-loss thing, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how good he passed for. If you're not winning the game, they're going to look for the next guy.
And if you're not winning championships, conference, and it starts with conference championships. But if you go back and look at every quarterback in Nebraska history they talk about, all those guys did what? They won a conference championship first.
Yeah. Those are the guys you really remember.
And we haven't had that, so that's why fans are so much on numbers right now. Completion percentage, but that right there has no hill of beans on it if you have a team who's playing together and grind it out.
I remember when you were playing, and I don't remember ever sitting around with my friends saying, well, Tommie threw for 100 yards and ran for another 25, whatever the stats were that game. I don't remember ever talking about a lot of stats. I remember we would always make comments on one position. It was running back because we say, hey, this week we had 3 running backs over 100 yards. But other than that, I don't remember any of the other stats. We never cared 2 shits about
That's okay.
2 cares about
the podcast.
Yeah. It's like 2 cares about the stats.
Why? Because we rushed for 300 yards. We controlled the ball. We scored a lot of points.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. Do what you do best. And what does Nebraska do best?
Well, I don't know now.
And I keep saying, and I said this all the time, year in and year out. Find something that you do well, and you make sure you can do that well enough versus anything before you start adding on. How many times have you had me say that?
Which is probably a great example of why Ohio State's where they're at.
Or Wisconsin.
Yeah. Or Wisconsin. Great example. Wisconsin.
Or Alabama on defense.
Hell, Wisconsin's got a freshman quarterback half the time in there.
They're rotating quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But guess what? They know that they're a power football run team. No matter who we have quarterback, we're gonna run the football.
And even Iowa, you got to admit, the one thing they were through the whole game, they were consistent.
Consistent running football.
Yeah, and
they do what they do well and not deviate off of it.
Yeah.
Even when it's not working, they're gonna stick with it because guess what? Eventually, it's gonna open up.
Yep.
And Nebraska doesn't do that.
Well,
lately there's been a hodgepodge of stuff. I want to use the word.
Yeah. Well, we got a whole month to get over it.
Yep. We got a whole month to get over it.
One more game.
I got some time to where I can relax and heal a little bit because the last week and a half have been difficult for me.
It's been a rough
one.
But this weekend's still good. This is good football on championships, and they'll figure out the bowl. It's exciting. This is an exciting week, even though Nebraska's not playing.
Yeah, we'll be able to come back and talk about the bowl selection, and they're going to have the playoff.
Yep.
We can talk about who's going to win the Heisman, so that list to be out.
What I'd be interested in is who's your most valuable player this year?
Based off of what they did over the season,
Yeah,
Lamar Jackson,
Lamar Jackson.
Louisville, because he did that. He did that versus some very good teams.
Yeah, he was impressive. He's been really impressive.
Now he took a hit, but based off what he did over the whole season,
Yeah.
it'd be hard pressed for anyone to take it from him.
If he does, well,
Because they don't have another game.
do you think he'll win it?
I think he will.
Because now it doesn't seem. It seems like if you're not in the Final Four or you're not up there playing for titles,
I think he's going to win. Because name 4 of the guys who have been as impressive this year.
I couldn't even tell you the Alabama's
You
quarterback.
can go Jalen Hurd, but that's lately though.
Yeah.
But look how he started the season. He wasn't even started to start the season. Then you can say Deshaun Watson. Well, he's ups and downs.
He's been good at times.
Then you call the running back from San Diego State who leads the country in rushing. But then the quarterback at Washington. Those are my top 5.
Yeah.
So out of those top 5 that is called out, who's the one that sticks out the most? Louisville.
He's been impressive all year. I'll watch.
Oh, I'm not gonna watch the ceremony until the end because I think it's just a joke.
Oh, I don't watch it. Yeah, I don't watch any of the trophy ceremonies. I typically don't watch. But I'll be watching to see what the results are.
Yeah, but I will do that. As a matter of fact, I think there's a fight that night.
Ooh.
The 10th.
Is that a Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday night. I think
there is a fight.
Terrence Crawford fights.
Oh, I was thinking UFC fight, but there's a UFC fight too. But Terrence Crawford is fighting, isn't he?
He's fighting on the 10th. I think December 10th.
He jumped weight classes, didn't he?
No, I think it's still the same one. I think it's still the same one. I think it's 140, 145?
145?
I think it's one of those two.
I ran into him. Did I tell you I ran into him?
Mm-mm.
Oh, man. He's a small guy.
He is a small guy.
I mean, 145 is, you know it's small, but when you see him, you're like, it's small.
Yeah, 145 is not big at all.
Holy moly, he's small. But you know what? We seen him at the school, and he was there for a little bit, and they did this whole charity thing at the school. But when they had some other athletes there. When all the other athletes left, Terrence Crawford stayed. I swear he stayed for another 2 hours, and he signed every autograph and took pictures with every single person.
Good. That's good for him.
Man, he was. I mean, then he walked out, and he was smiling, high-fiving people. Like, it was kind of cool to see.
That's a guy giving back to his community.
Yeah.
He's from here. He's Omaha. Omaha's embraced him. Omaha loves him. So when you're in your community and you're doing stuff like that,
it's unfortunate that it took so long to get, probably the recognition he deserved, even in his community.
Well, I think it's just boxing. That's just boxing.
Boxing in general, yeah.
No. You don't come right out and just get the name. You got boxing is one of those sports. It's not like UFC.
No, yeah, you're right. It doesn't have
where you can go out there and you fight and have 2 impressive wins. Hopefully, you jump to the top.
Especially in this town, it's not really known as a boxing town.
But boxing, you got to start slow and work your way up to get big names.
Well, all right. Well, we'll be back next week, right?
Yes, we will.
So, as always,
and I'll be in a better mood, better spirit too.
Well, that's good.
Yep.
Been a really crabby.
But we made it though. The family made it. We celebrate my brother's life, who passed away a week and a half ago, and he's the one that moved up here when I was a freshman to make sure that I have family around. So. But he
moved up here when you were a freshman?
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yep.
And he's your older brother, right?
Yeah, he's my third brother. And everyone knew him. Name was Fred Frazier down in Lincoln. In a small community, he used to all play softball. So these are small communities. But, he passed away and he's gone, but he's not forgotten.
That's a rough deal. Especially when it's that early.
Yes, 50 years old. 50 years old, he passed away.
That's unfortunate. You got family here?
Yeah, my older brother lives in Lincoln, who he lived with. That's who I worry about more because he stayed with him, and now he's going back to an apartment to where he's not there anymore. So
is he going to stay in Lincoln?
Yeah, he's going to stay in Lincoln. Oh yeah, he loves. He doesn't love Lincoln, but
yeah.
He stays to himself anyway, so he doesn't bother anyone. But we'll get through it. Time heals all wounds.
Well, take the rest of the day off.
I plan on it.
You got somebody else to interview.
No, they have to interview me.
Oh, they interview you. It should be the other way.
I'll make sure I get it done.
All right, we'll be back next week.